This message is intended for those who possess extraordinary powers but face numerous troubles. If you desire to test the extent of your abilities, forsake your family and belongings and come to our little garden. What would you do if such a letter arrived? Well, 3 teenagers named Izayoi, Asuka, and you found themselves with no other option. Immediately after receiving the enigmatic message, they were transported to the little garden. Despite the involuntary nature of their journey, the troubled youngsters welcomed the change, yearning for excitement in their monotonous lives. They arrived near a tranquil lake and quickly realized they were not alone. In order to coax out a mysterious girl hiding in the bushes, the 3 children promptly exhibited their extraordinary powers. Initially taken aback by their lack of discipline, Black Rabbit extended a warm welcome to Little Garden and introduced them to the purpose of their arrival, the chance to participate in gift games. These games involved utilizing the blessings bestowed upon individuals by war gods, demons, spirits, and stars. The stakes in these games varied from money, land, and resources to gifts, prestige, and even people. However, to emerge victorious, the participants had to meet the conditions set by the host of the game. The rules of each game were always presented on a dice roll prior to commencement. This was also the case for the very first gift game that the children were confronted with, a card game challenge from Black Rabbit. Izayoi cleverly circumvented the rules and emerged as the winner. Collecting his winnings, Izayoi posed a question to Black Rabbit: "Are the gift games enjoyable?" Responding with immense enthusiasm, Black Rabbit confirmed the excitement of the games and guided the group to her community. At the entrance, they were welcomed by Jin, the leader of the community. However, just as Black Rabbit was about to introduce the trio, she realized that Izayoi had vanished. Asuka and you explained that he had simply wanted to take a quick glimpse of the world's edge. Irritated, Black Rabbit activated her powers and embarked on a leap-filled search for the problem child Izayoi. She discovered him near a waterfall, ready to reprimand him. To her astonishment, Izayoi had already challenged a god in the gift game. The water god, a dragon-like creature, emerged from the depths and attacked Izayoi with fierce whirlpools. Yet, Izayoi delivered a powerful blow, defeating the god effortlessly. Black Rabbit couldn't believe her eyes witnessing a human defeat a god so easily. However, her astonishment turned into delight upon learning that Izayoi's victory had secured a water tree as the prize, which would provide her community with an endless water source. Meanwhile, Jin led Asuka and you into his community, and they settled down at a cafe. During their conversation, you disclosed that her gift allowed her to communicate with animals. Just as Asuka is about to explain her own gift, their conversation is abruptly interrupted by a tall, blonde man who introduces himself as Galdo, the leader of Force Garo. Galdo expresses his desire to recruit the newcomers for his own community and dismisses the potential future of Jin's weak no-name community. The children discover that many years ago, the no-name community was once powerful and thriving, but it lost its name and banner due to an attack by a formidable demon lord. Currently, only about 120 members remain, most of whom are children under the age of 10, leaving them in a dire situation. Despite this, to the great joy of Black Rabbit and Jin, the newcomers decide to accept the challenge and make a promise to join the no-name community in order to help it flourish once again. A frustrated Galdo is once again confronted by Asuka, who utilizes her gift against him, forcing him to reveal the secret behind his community's success. She reveals that they manipulate other communities by kidnapping their women and children, thereby gaining control over them. However, unbeknownst to these manipulated communities, Galdo has already killed the hostages. When Asuka finally releases her hold on Galdo, he transforms angrily into a fierce tiger beast. Nevertheless, he manages to subdue him, and the two challenge him to a fight the following day. After being reunited with Black Rabbit and Izayoi, the group proceeds to Shirayasha, a powerful demon lord of the Thousand Eyes trade community, who has taken on the role of floor master of the east side of Little Garden to ensure peace. Intrigued by Shirayasha's power, Izayoi challenges her. In an instant, they find themselves on Shirayasha's game board, a vast night scenery featuring a tall mountain. Shirayasha, who identifies as the spirit of the sun and the white knight, summons a griffin to test the player's strength, wisdom, and courage. He volunteers and bravely rides the griffin as it swiftly circles the mountain. Struggling to hold on, she draws strength from a necklace given to her by her father, which enables her to overcome the challenge. As a reward, the three receive gift cards from Shirayasha, allowing them to name and store their gifts. To Shirayasha's surprise, however, Izayoi's card fails to identify his gift. After an eventful first day in Little Garden, Asuka, Yu, and Black Rabbit take advantage of Izayoi's water tree and relax in a hot bath. Following the bath, Black Rabbit provides the girls with new clothes infused with protective auras. Meanwhile, Izayoi spots a group of invaders from the Force Garo community encroaching on No Name's territory. They plead with him to defeat Galdo and dismantle Force Garo, as they are unable to do so themselves since Galdo has taken their families hostage. Izayoi reveals the grim truth that Galdo has already killed the hostages, but he promises the desperate men that their leader, Jin, will personally take on Galdo and the demon lords to exact revenge. Annoyed by Izayoi's promise, Jin confronts him later. However, Izayoi explains his plan. Since the no-name community lacks both a name and a banner, they need something to represent them. He He intends to position Jin as the face and backbone of the community to enhance cohesion among the remaining members. Jin then reveals the existence of one more member, Letitia, a former demon lord who is now under the ownership of a high-ranking official and will soon be offered as a prize in an upcoming gift game. Izayoi promises Jin that he will retrieve their friend on the condition that Jin succeeds in winning the impending battle against Galdo. The setting for the gift game the next day is Galdo's territory, which is completely engulfed in dense jungle vegetation. Jin, Asuka, and you quickly locate Galdo in his residence, where he appears as a giant roaring tiger with menacingly glowing red eyes. Jin deduces the involvement of a vampiric demon in this situation and identifies the crossed sword lodged in the wall as the designated weapon for the players. After Yu's unsuccessful attempt to face Galdo alone, resulting in serious injuries, Asuka sets fire to Galdo's building and entices him into the forest. There, she employs her powers to command the vines and bind Galdo, then utilizes the crossed sword to acquire the strength needed to defeat him. As a result, the no-names emerge victorious, the thick vegetation dissipates, and the Forest Garo community disbands. Upon returning to their residence, Black Rabbit expresses her satisfaction that Izayoi will now assist in the endeavor to reclaim their old friend Letitia during the upcoming gift game. As she leaves the room to prepare tea, a vampire girl suddenly appears outside the window and launches an attack on Izayoi. However, he manages to fend her off and swiftly counterattacks. The others, alerted by the commotion, rush into the room, and Black Rabbit intervenes, preventing Izayoi from escalating the situation further. She explains that the girl is her friend Letitia, a former demon lord and pureblood vampire. After the tension subsides a bit, Asuka confronts Letitia regarding her assistance to Galdo and the bestowing of formidable powers through her bite. Letitia clarifies that she wanted to test the abilities of the three newcomers to determine if they were worthy of entrusting her former community to. Despite their victory, Letitia remains somewhat unconvinced and challenges Izayoi to a duel using lances. However, the battle is abruptly interrupted when the group is attacked by powerful rays descending from the sky, originating from the power of Gorgon. In order to save Asuka, Letitia sacrifices herself and is petrified by the rays. Subsequently, fighters from the Perseus community emerge and take the petrified Letitia to return her to her rightful owner, Laius. However, Laius alters his plans for Letitia, intending to sell her to a high-paying buyer rather than offering her as a prize in a gift game. To negotiate Letitia's fate, the no-names seek an audience with Shirayasha to speak with Laius. Laius proposes a deal. In exchange for Letitia, he wishes to make Black Rabbit his vassal. He grants them 1 week to consider the offer. Later, Black Rabbit visits Laius on his terrace and challenges him to a duel, to which Laius initially shows little interest. However, when she presents him with the stakes, a red and a blue ball acquired by Izayoi after defeating the Kraken and the Gree, Laius agrees. These spheres possess the authority to challenge a legend, which is immediately put into action as the challenge of the legend of Laos begins promptly. The no-names find themselves in front of Laius' castle and must adhere to the legend's requirements, avoiding detection by the guards before assassinating Laius. Asuka utilizes the power of the water tree to disable some of the guards, while Yu, with her ability to sense the presence of invisible guards, incapacitates them before they can detect Izayoi and Jin. Consequently, Black Rabbit, Izayoi, and Jin manage to reach Laius unnoticed. They discover Laius seated on a throne with the petrified Letitia by his side. Laius summons the demon lord Algol, who immediately begins petrifying everything in the vicinity. Laius and Algol join forces to confront Izayoi, but just as Algol is about to petrify the entire arena, Izayoi delivers a powerful blow to Algol's forehead, defeating the demon lord and destroying his petrification gift. Letitia expresses her gratitude to the group for rescuing her and pledges to serve as their housemate, feeling deeply indebted to them. A few days later, Izayoi, Asuka, and Yu receive a mysterious letter inviting them to celebrate the rise of the fire dragon. Outraged that Black Rabbit wants to deprive them of this enjoyable festival, they threaten her in a letter, stating that they will leave the no-name community if she fails to locate them by the end of the day. Furious with the three troublemakers, Black Rabbit immediately sets off with Letitia to find them. Meanwhile, the kids contemplate how to reach the celebration, which is located 980,000 miles away on the north side, and decide to seek assistance from Shirayasha. Shirayasha, who happens to be a co-organizer of the festival, explains that its purpose is to declare 11-year-old Sandra as the new Northern Floor Master and head of Salamandra. With a clap of her hands, Shirayasha teleports them directly to the north side. However, Black Rabbit quickly catches up and confronts the three runaways in a state of anger. She captures Yu first and then proceeds to Asuka and Izayoi, who are soon discovered again by Black Rabbit. Despite the adversity, Izayoi refuses to surrender without a fight, leading to a fierce battle between him and Black Rabbit atop the rooftops of Salamandra. The fight ultimately ends in a draw, but the confrontation is abruptly halted by the MPs of the Salamandra community, who escort them to their leader, Sandra. To Sandra's delight, she welcomes the no-names and allows them to go free, much to the dissatisfaction of her brother. To make amends, the no-names promise to protect Salamandra from an imminent attack by a demon lord, as prophesied by a member of the Thousand Eyes community. Meanwhile, Asuka seeks to befriend a fairy who claims to belong to the Pied Piper community. The two embark on a stroll through an exhibition, marveling at Dean, an impressive steel giant associated with the Pied Piper. Suddenly, the lights in the exhibition hall go out, and a group of aggressive rats, under the control of a powerful entity, attack Asuka and the fairy. Asuka finds herself unable to exert control over the rats with her gift. However, at the last moment, Letitia comes to their rescue. In the evening, Shirayasha announces that Black Rabbit will serve as the host and referee for the finals of the Battle of the Creators. You, who qualified for the games by defeating a stone monster, will face opponents from the Will-O-Wisp and Pied Piper communities. Shirayasha explains that the Pied Piper community, known as the Rat Catchers, is connected to the Pied Piper of Hamelin and the Grim Grimoire communities. These communities were once powerful but disbanded after being defeated in a gift game against a formidable demon lord. However, with the support of the Pied Piper community, the threat of the Grim Grimoire resurfaces, posing an imminent attack on Salamandra. Asuka begins to question the identity of the fairy who peacefully slumbers on her lap during the meeting. The following day, Yu decides to participate in the finals alone, despite having the option to compete with a partner. Her opponents from the Will-O-Wisp community, Ayesha and her partner Jack-O-Lantern, also arrive at the arena. Suddenly, the players find themselves in an underwood maze, where they must either escape first or destroy the enemy's gift in order to win the game. He navigates through the maze while Ayesha rides on Jack, shooting blue flames at Yu. However, when Yu discovers the maze exit, Jack reveals his true powers as an immortal demon, leaving Yu with no choice but to admit defeat. As she regrets her decision not to choose a partner for the game, thousands of black geese rolls rain down from the sky, signaling the impending attack by the Demon Lord. In the midst of the chaos, Shirayasha is separated from the No-Names and trapped in a sphere of black smoke, as she is not permitted to participate according to the game's rules. The No-Names learn the condition of the gift game, which is to shatter the false legend and make the true legend known, referring to the legend of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Without hesitation, Izayoi decides to take on the Demon Lord alone and fights anyone who stands in his way. However, he becomes entangled in a battle with Wesser, the embodiment of the river Wesser from the legend. Meanwhile, Letitia faces off against the formidable Strom initially and later joins forces with Sandora to confront Pest, the Demon Lord of the Black Plague. Rattan, representing the embodiment of the rats in the legend, plays her pipe, causing the giant rats and the inhabitants of Salamandra to involuntarily dance to her tune, wreaking havoc throughout the city. Asuka confronts the mind-controlled rats, but her powers alone are not strong enough to stop them. In a moment of decisive action, Black Rabbit exercises her authority as Judge Master and convenes a meeting between the opposing parties to negotiate the battle and seek a resolution. However, the hosts assert that no rules have been violated, including the restriction imposed on Shirayasha, and the Little Garden officials, connected through Black Rabbit's ears, can find no evidence of misconduct or illegality. To everyone's shock, Pest announces that she has already infected the residents of Salamandra with the Black Plague, intending to force her opponents into surrender. However, Jin, who has been diligently studying in the library over the past few weeks, possesses extensive knowledge of the legend and engages in negotiations with Pest. The agreement is reached to continue the games in 1 week's time, with a time limit of 24 hours. Additionally, Black Rabbit is allowed to participate in the game. With the prospect of winning everything within a short time frame, Pest agrees to the deal. Meanwhile, Asuka awakens in a dark dungeon accompanied by the fairy. She is surrounded by shining swarms of fairies who urge her to accept their gift, the steel giant Dean, which she is meant to control. Several days later, the symptoms of the Black Plague become noticeable among the inhabitants, and Yu falls ill, with Izayoi by her side. Izayoi contemplates the legend and experiences a sudden realization. The attackers are not the true Pied Piper of Hamelin, but rather the distorted version depicted in Grimm's fairy tales, with alterations and additions to the real events that occurred in 1284. He also discerns the reason behind Shirayasha's exclusion from participation. During the outbreak of the Black Plague centuries ago, its rapid spread was facilitated by an ice age caused by the absence of sunlight. Since Shirayasha holds power over the sun and Little Garden, she poses a deadly threat to Pest. Izayoi formulates a plan to win the game, centered around the condition shatter the false legend and make the true legend known. He deduces that it refers to the stained glass panels of Hamelin, which have depicted the legend for centuries. After the 1-week break, the game resumes, and the No-Names prepare to confront their opponents once again. As Pest realizes that her opponents have seemingly solved the first riddle of the stained glass panels, she unleashes her full power and summons the city of Hamelin. Rattan and several Stroms attack Jin and the residents of Salamandra, who are on the verge of destroying the stained glass panels in the church. However, Letitia manages to repel Rattan, and just as Strom is about to reach Jin, Asuka arrives with Dean and successfully fends off the attacker. Dean proceeds to defeat each Strom with powerful blows. After all the enemies are defeated, Asuka gives Rattan a chance to play one last song on her pipe. Using her Song of Illusions, Rattan nearly succeeds in enchanting Asuka and bringing Dean under her control, but Asuka remains resilient. Rattan concedes defeat and disappears. Meanwhile, Izayoi and Wesser engage in a fierce battle. Wesser, who has received new divinity from Pest, has doubled his power and proves to be Izayoi's first truly formidable opponent. Izayoi exposes Weser as the true Pied Piper of Hamelin, the one who belongs to the authentic story of 1284. Pest, Rattan, and Strom were only added to the story later. Weser confirms Izayoi's deductions and launches his next attack. However, Izayoi gains the upper hand and finally manages to defeat him. With that, Weser also vanishes. Sandora and Black Rabbit find themselves locked in combat with Pest. Sandora shoots flames, and Black Rabbit unleashes lightning bolts, but Pest easily repels their attacks, as she draws her power from the malice and resentment stemming from the 80 million deaths caused by the Black Plague. Sensing the defeat of Rattan and Weser, Pest launches a furious all-out attack, releasing a deadly wind throughout the city. He attempts to rescue a child from the wind and is saved just in time by Dean. Izayoi rushes to aid Black Rabbit and Sandora in their battle against Pest. Suddenly, Black Rabbit uses her gift card to teleport them all to the Moon Palace, Chandra Mahal. Weakened by the teleportation to the moon, Pest becomes vulnerable to Sandora's rings of fire, and Asuka commands Dean to deliver the finishing blow with the powerful Spear of Indra. Back in Salamandra, Sandora proudly declares her victory over the Demon Lord. The little fairies reveal their true story to Asuka, recounting the tale of the 130 children of Hamelin who wandered along the Weser River to establish their own community before a natural disaster claimed their lives. Now, they can finally return to their time, leaving Asuka with Dean and the little fairy whom she names Maron. In the Salamander Palace, Izayoi confronts Sandora's brother, who confesses to orchestrating the events in order to establish Sandora as the rightful ruler. Izayoi spares his life under the condition that the Salamandra community will support the No-Names in their future battles. Finally back home, the No-Name community gazes upon their barren land, but they are filled with hope for the future and have ambitious plans to rejuvenate the land and restore their community to its former glory. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more anime videos.